the spit bra? A lot of hands go up. You know why? Because there was a man who said, let's have a spit bra. Free food. And you know what happens when there's free food and a proper spit bra? Every guy and his dog rocked up that day. I'm not joking. 20's friends, they brought their dog as well. And we sat in the tent and we had those incredible spits there. You were here, Brian, I remember that, but it was amazing. And as you came, it poured down with rain. Remember, it was proper. We were all in the tent. 20 was so happy because it doesn't leak. And so we sat and we had an incredible time. Vanjie, would you come up this morning? Would you come and sit on the side of Aunty Florence? And so on that 2nd of March, Vanjie invited Aunty Florence to come to the tent. And Vanjie, my Greek friend, was late. Yeah, she was. And so Aunty Florence came all alone in a Northwest number plate Hyundai. And a couple of you sat around Aunty Florence in that tent. I'll never forget. There was a little circle of people, and I went afterwards and I said to Aunty Florence, do you know these people? She said, no, I've just met them here for the first time. And it was there in the tent that I got to hear the story of Aunty Florence, a first-time visitor. Maybe Rudolph's friend Chris from hospital might come as a first-time visitor. But today we're hearing the story of another visitor who came on the 2nd of March to the tent and had a beautiful meal with us. Aunty Florence, would you take us back to your life when you were just 3 years old? Would you bring us into your world this morning? God, before Aunty Florence speaks, use her story, challenge each one of us, because we all have a story. No one's perfect. We love you, Jesus. Amen. You were 3 years old, Aunty Florence. Take us back there.
Yes. I was 3 years old when I went to an orphanage,
Yes.
a convent on the south coast.
Sure. So you were given up for adoption. You were sent to this orphanage. You were 3 years old. You went on a train from Pretoria.
Yes, that's where I was born. Yes.
And you went to this orphanage on the south coast. And you used to tug on the nuns on their jacket. Yes. And you used to ask them a question. What did you always ask them?
Say, where is my mommy? I want to see my mommy. And they'd say to me, go and play. So I grew up with the idea, go and play. But I still never stopped asking them all the years, from 3 until I was 18.
Yeah.
I'd go and say, where's my mom? You must know where my mom is. Go and play.
Yeah.
So.
And you grew up, you have lovely, long, blonde hair. You couldn't answer maths questions. When you got the answers wrong, Aunty Florence, just share with us a little bit what happened when you got those answers wrong.
They'd take my hair. I had long blonde hair and had in a thick plait at school. And then she'd take it and hit it against the wall and say, you are so stupid. What is the question? But I was so nervous. You know, if you're bullied like that, you just lose it. And I said, I don't know. You are stupid and you are ugly. Go and sit down. So I grew up with the mentality, I'm stupid and I'm ugly. Wasn't very nice for my husband to hear all the time. I'd say, he asked me, no, don't ask me, I'm stupid. You're not stupid. God made no stupid people, and he made no ugly people.
Wow.
We're all beautiful in God's sight.
Wow.
I believe that.
We're going to get to your husband in a moment, Aunty Florence. You grew up at this orphanage, and then they said, no, you need to go and find work. And so you went and you ended up working in Durban. Tell us about that.
They got me a job in Durban at an orphanage, small children. And I was used to children because we had lots of small orphan children in the convent. So I knew how to train them and to smack them when they were naughty. But I never got into trouble because I did it behind their backs. Not going to be naughty, not going to cheat me, because you're going to get this.
And there was one 7 or 8 year old child there who always kicked you.
Kept kicking me, and I said to her, don't kick me. And she kept kicking me. So I smacked her on her bottom. And the matron saw me. And she had this big hoghorn, what do you call a foghorn? Miss Thompson, come to the office. And I thought, oh boy, someone's come to see me.
Wow.
But I didn't know anybody. I had left the convent knowing nothing, nobody, didn't know where I came from, nothing. So I ran to the office very happy. As I got in the office, she slapped my face. So I lost it and I slapped her face.
Yo. What do you think, bud? And then, tell us.
Then I pushed her back on the floor. I pushed her on her back.
Yeah.
I know it was very disrespectful, but in the years growing up, we had to all fight our own battles. And I promised myself when I left school, no one's going to hit me or bully me anymore.
Sure.
So I slapped her on her back, sat on her stomach, took her by her hair, banged her head on the floor, and I said to her, you will never touch me again.
Wow.
She jumped up and she ran to the phone and she said to the nuns at the convent, come and fetch this mad woman.
Yo.
She's busy attacking me.
So they fetched you. You went back to the south coast, and you were there. And then what happened? They obviously heard one side of the story as to why you smacked her. They hadn't heard your side of the story, Aunty Florence.
No, they didn't hear my story. I was the baddie, but I didn't mind. They said to me, you cannot be cheeky in the world. I said, well, I've got news for you. I'm a very cheeky lady. I won't keep quiet for anybody.
Sure.
I was cheeky.
So you were there for a while, and then they said, no, you can't stay here. Tell us then where you went. You went to...
Then they got me a job in Pietermaritzburg at a nursing home called the Sanatorium. And I was very nervous and very scared. But I met a precious friend. Actually, she became my sister-in-law.
Yes.
And she took me under her wing.
Wow. She sort of mentored you, Aunty Florence. She helped you. She shared with you as
showed me around and told me what to do, but I was still very scared.
Okay. Aunty Florence, there was an evening where a man who was high up in a church, he was in hospital there, and he rang the bell because he wanted some water. Just share with us briefly what happened there.
So I went into the ward and I said, good evening, and he recognized me. He said, oh, you Miss Thompson? So I said, yes. Where do you know me from?
Don't worry there. And he asked for water. You came back?
Asked me for a glass of water. So I went to fetch the glass and I brought it back. And as I put it down on the table, he took his hand and he put it up my uniform. Well, all I saw was red. Wah!
You slapped him.
And he fell off the bed. Nurse, pick me up. I said, pick yourself up. No. I said, how dare you touch me, dirty old man. I was so upset. And my sister-in-law to be, Rini, her name was Rini. She came running. She said, she can wake up the whole hospital. She said, what happened? Why is he on the floor? I said, this dirty old man. And I told her, you see. So she said, let's pick him up. I said, I'm not touching him. Find someone else to pick him up with you. And I walked out the ward.
You became good friends with Rini.
So,
who was soon to be later on to be your sister-in-law. That's the lady who took you under her wing. Tell us. She said, "I have someone that I'd like you to meet."
Yeah. She said to me, "Floss." They called me Flossie. I never knew my name. Wow. As a little girl, I was called Flossie, not Florence. My real name is Florence, but I never knew it. Anyway, she said, "I've got someone very nice to me." I said, no, I don't want anyone. I don't want anyone. Sorry. She says, "But he's nice. It's my brother." So I thought, oh, shame. I better meet him.
He lived in Newcastle, and he was a radio technician, Aunty Florence.
Yes.
You were scared. You weren't really wanting to meet him, Aunty Florence.
No, I didn't want to. And I kept saying to Rini, just leave me alone. No, please, just, he said, no, it's my brother. Not because he's my brother, but he's very kind. And he'll like you. I said, like me? I'm so ugly.
Wow.
She kept saying, stop saying that anyway.
Auntie Florence, before you left the orphanage on the south coast, you used to ask a question. You used to say about a boy, and you used to ask, what happened if I ever got a boyfriend? And just tell us that.
Before I left, they told me now I have to go into the world and work. And I said, what do I do if a boy kisses me? Well, they were very narrow-minded, these people. They were. No, don't you dare kiss him. You'll end up like your mother.
Wow.
I never even knew my mother. And I said, my mother, I said, what did she do? No, and they never answered me. And it worried me.
Sure.
And then I asked my sister-in-law, I said, just tell your brother not to kiss me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to end up like my mother. But I still didn't know the meaning of it.
Yes. Yes. Just tell us quickly, you didn't have a clue about pregnant. Just tell us how you thought people fell pregnant. Can you let us in there? Because it just shows again, Auntie Florence, remember you said to me how you thought you fell pregnant. Auntie Florence said she thought that if you swallowed a pill, you would fall pregnant. She didn't understand. And the nuns, do not kiss him. So Rini, your sister-in-law, introduces you to Martin.
Yes.
He comes from Newcastle. What did he say? How did he introduce himself?
My name is Martin. Nice to meet you. So I said, okay.
What did he call you?
Flossie.
Or Miss Thompson, Nurse Thompson.
Oh, Nurse Thompson, yes. Pleased to meet you, Nurse Thompson. So I said, pleased to meet you.
He went back to Newcastle. A couple months later, he kept phoning on his sister Rini. Will she go out with me? Will Nurse Thompson go out with me? Eventually, he asked you to the drive-in.
Yes.
Did you know what a drive-in was?
He says, can I take you to the drive-in? A lot of you remember the drive-in. I said, no.
Some of you don't even know what the drive-in is, but yeah, these like.
What's the drive-in? No, come with me. I said, all right. Go with you.
He picked you up.
First, I said to him, no, not going to kiss me, eh?
Yeah. He picked you up in his beautiful car. There's a photo of it on the screen. Hey?
No.
And you went to the drive-in. How did you sit in the car that night?
Right? Just about falling out the door. He said, please sit in the chair, in the seat properly.
Sit up straight.
So I said, okay, but you just don't kiss me. No, I won't do anything.
Can you remember what the movie was that night, Auntie Florence?
Oh, no. I was too nervous watching him.
And so that's where this relationship with you and Martin started. And eventually, when you were 21, he proposed to you and you got married together. We have a picture on the screen.
Sorry?
There's a photo. Look how nice it is.
Oh.
It's beautiful, eh? You got married. He was the most wonderful man, you say. What did he used to call you, Auntie Florence?
Come here, my darling orphan wife. And I say, you're my orphan. I love you.
Wow. Wow. And you told me that when he used to ask you to do something or you tried to do something, you always used to say, no, I can't do that. I'm stupid and I'm ugly. And he used to say to you, what did he say?
You're so beautiful. Why do you always call yourself ugly? I said, well, that's how I knew myself, as being ugly and stupid. Always to get so upset with me, but
And you couldn't look at yourself in the mirror.
I couldn't. I could never look at myself as a young girl in the mirror. I always said, when I got married to my sister-in-law, Rini, the eldest sister, my husband's eldest sister, my late husband, and you say, look at yourself in the mirror, you're so beautiful. I said, no, I'm not. Come, let's go. Let's walk away from it.
You lived on his family's pineapple farm on the south coast, and you had a daughter.
Oh, the most beautiful. God blessed me with such a beautiful daughter.
What was her name?
Her name, well, we named her Maria, and my mom's second name was Emily. But I didn't like Nora. Nora was my late mom's first name, but I said, well, let's call her Maria Emily. Okay. So while I was giving birth, I cried and cried so much. I made so much noise in the maternity ward. And my husband said, please, lovey, don't cry. Why are you crying so much? I said, I want my mother to come and stand in front of me, and I want to tell her, I will never give my baby up. Even if I have to drink water and bread and feed my baby bread, I'll never give her up like she did. I want her now to stand here. He said, lovey, but we don't know where your mom is. I said, well, I'm just telling you. I don't know where she is either.
You were mad. There were so many feelings inside of you, Aunty Florence.
Sorry?
There were a lot of feelings of anger inside of you, Aunty Florence.
Very cross.
Yeah. You had this beautiful daughter. You named her Ricky.
My husband, you know, the Afrikaans people always had a nickname for children.
Okay.
And he called her Ricky.
Beautiful.
And I said, her name's not Ricky, her name's Maria. No, we call her Ricky. So the Afrikaans, my mother-in-law, my in-laws called her Ricky, and she grew up Ricky, but her real name is Maria.
Got you. And she so badly wanted a little brother or a sister, and for years you went from gynecologist to gynecologist, trying to see if there was something wrong as to why you couldn't have another child, and then they all confirmed that there was nothing wrong with you, Aunty Florence, but there was obviously something with Martin and his years working in Newcastle as a radio technician with all the mercury there.
Yes,
and so that's why you weren't able to and God, in a miraculous way, gave you a beautiful daughter. And one day, Martin, you said, please, can we adopt?
Yes.
Talk about it. You said, please, can we adopt a little baby? And what did Martin say? You said to you must phone the welfare and ask them in Durban, eh?
Yes. So I phoned the welfare, you know, I'm full of diva. I love doing things on the spot, not waiting for things to happen. And I phoned them and I said, can we come and see you? And she said, yes. Is it about adoption? So I said, yes.
Okay.
So we went, she made an appointment and we went to see them.
But a year later, it was a long time, Aunty Florence.
She told us.
Can you guys hear Aunty Florence in the back, Jeff? All coming through. So you waited a year. They phoned you in Durban and said you must come through and look at the babies. You took Ricky out of school, and you and Martin, your husband, with Ricky, you went and had a look at these babies. Tell us through that whole day going there and looking at these babies.
All orphans. Their mothers were like 14, 15 years old, and they were given up. Their moms, they weren't allowed to even see the child. After the child was born, they were taken away. So I suppose the mother knew if it was a boy or a girl, and that was it.
You walked through, you saw all these babies, and then?
I stopped at a cot, and as I looked down, I saw the most beautiful little boy. He had big brown eyes, long eyelashes, and he was looking up, and he kept staring at me. And I said to my husband, I'm going to pick him up. I just took him out the cot. On that moment of loving someone that also would have been maybe an orphan, I wanted to give him love and a home. And I know there's lots of hurting people out in the world, and I just want you to be encouraged. You're never, ever alone, never. I always thought I was alone as an orphan. But there were times when I felt God was with me. I wasn't a good Christian because I didn't really know God as I know God now. I have such a passion for God. Anyway,
You said, Martin, this is the one.
yes,
And Ricky, what happened? They were crying, eh?
we were crying and my daughter was jumping up. Mommy, Mommy, give me my brother, give me my brother.
She wanted to hold him, but you were scared that Ricky was going to drop
She
him.
was only 9 years old. So I said, okay, so I said, I'll let Daddy hold him first. And Jamie cried so much. My husband said, you did the right thing. I said, I know. And
You went back to the pineapple farm. They grew up as brother and sister. What did you name your boy?
Werntley, it's a very Afrikaans name, van der Riet. But they didn't call it Werntley. In Afrikaans they say Warently.
Yeah, you
I said to
Afrikaans
my
folks know
husband,
that.
no, not
Not for
having
that.
Afrikaans name. No, I'm English. Why must I?
You called him Werntley, and one day he was about 8 or 9. Him and his sister were drawing in the lounge at the table. The television was on, and there was a program. Tell us about that quickly.
And there was a program on TV about adoption. And I never knew that he was listening. You know, him and my daughter, they were drawing together. And he looked at me and said, Mommy, what is adoption? I thought, oh, hang on, my turn comes. So I said to him, come sit on my lap. And I hugged him and I explained it to him. And my daughter looked at me like this, but she didn't know, she didn't say anything, she just looked. And then my husband came home.
From
And
work.
we hadn't discussed it, but I always knew in my heart that I want to let him know before he grows up, because I heard of a lot of children, as they grow up and they become teenagers, then the parents say, oh, come sit down. I just want to tell you, you were adopted. They never see those children again after looking after them for so many years. And I thought, that's not going to happen to me.
So you put him on
I'm
his lap,
never
on
going to
your
let
lap.
this baby go.
Yes. So
Never.
you put him on your lap. You told him that he is adopted.
Yes.
How was his response to you that day on your lap?
Oh, thank you, Mommy. Thank you so much for adopting me. I love you so much, Mommy. Never leave you. And we hugged and cried. And my daughter just sat there, and she ran up and she sat on my other knee, and we hugged each other. And then we heard my husband coming home. And as he got out the truck, before I could say to Werntley, don't tell your father, we'll sit
Together.
together. Daddy, guess what? He didn't know what to guess. So he said, I'm adopted, you know.
Wow. Wow.
Oh.
And he was like, I love you, Daddy. He gave him a massive hug. You told
Yes,
him?
he hugged his dad and he said, I love you, Daddy, and thank you for adopting me.
Beautiful.
Oh, and my husband had tears in his eyes. And I stood there and I said, I'm sorry. Because I wanted us,
Together.
to fall together. But it came so unexpected.
And he was okay. Remember, you said to me, Martin was fine with that, how it
Yes.
happened, eh?
No, he wasn't cross or anything. He was just happy
Good.
that now it was out.
Yeah. Years went on. You find yourselves as a family moving to Benoni, of all places. You stay in Roundfield, in Simon Street, near your street, sir. You've got this big house. Werntley went to the army. Let's have a lovely photo of there. That young man, what a boy. 24, eh? He's in the army. You and Martin bought him a yellow BMW. They're driving home from Pretoria, him and his friend in the yellow BMW. Werntley's friend says to him, please, can I drive? Run through that story with us, please, Aunty Florence.
Sorry?
The story with Werntley driving back from Pretoria in the BMW.
Yes, he went to Valhalla Air Force Base, and he had a friend there that phoned him and said, can you please just come pick me up? His friend lived in Benoni with his parents. And so he picked him up, and he saw that my son had a new BMW. My husband had bought him a new BMW. So he said, can I test drive it? So he said, yeah, okay. So he was driving, and as he was driving, the guy that was in the car with my late son is still alive. And he said something was in the road, and he got a fright, and he swerved, and he went down an embankment, and the car rolled and rolled and rolled, and my late son fell out, and the back wheel of the car ended up on his head. And then the police phoned us to say, is this your car? SWM 381.
Yeah.
T, you know, the old registration. And my husband said, no, it's not just an I used to carry a book with all, because my husband had a lot of vehicles, and I used to always keep note of all the vehicles. And I pointed to the notebook. I said, yes, it is.
Your husband didn't want to know. He was trying to deny the fact that there was a problem, and your son was killed in that car that his friend was driving. And then, just 7 days after your son Werntley was killed, what happened 7 days later?
7 days later, my husband asked me for a cup of rooibos tea. He was lying on the bed, and I saw that day he wasn't well. And I said to him, Lovey, please let's go to the Glenwood and just go and check up on your heart, because he had a 4 bypass years ago. No, I'll be all right. I just want to lie down. So I said, okay. I literally ran to the kitchen. I just felt something chasing me. Put the kettle on, and I came back. That's how quick death is. And as I got to his bed, I said to him, the water will be boiling now. And I realized he's not answering me. He's just lying there like that. And I felt a pulse. He was gone. And I pulled him up, and I said to him, please don't leave me. You can't go now, because we've just lost a son, and now you're going too. Please don't go. But he was gone.
61.
He was 61 years old.
In those days after that, share with us how you spoke towards God, what your feelings were towards God within that time, please, Aunty Florence, and what happened.
And I spoke to God. I said to him, God, how can you take my husband and my son away from me? They were such good people. They looked after me. My husband looked after me. He was such a good man. Why? What did I do so bad? I've been an orphan all of my life. I'm going back now. I was so bitter and angry with God. I just carried on talking. I can't even remember half I said to him.
But you remember...
But I heard a voice as clear as day, as clear as can be, saying to me, I have always been your father. Well, that blew my mind.
Wow.
And I waited a while, and then forgiveness came in front of me. The word forgiveness. And I had lots of unforgiveness because I was hurt so badly and always told I belonged to no one. And forgiveness. And I knew I had to forgive a lot of people. So I took a writing pad, and I sat there. And the first one that came into my mind was my mother and father. I never had a father because my mother, on the birth certificate, just said Nora. My mother's name's Nora Emily Thompson. My name was Florence Thompson, and father unknown. So I never met my father, but I was so angry with him. Anyway, so I started with my mother, my father. I wrote the names down, and I had to forgive all the nuns that always told us, told me, go and play, and you did, no. They were very ugly, but I'm not going to go into that. And I had to write all the names.
You had to write your mother-in-law's name down as well, and your father-in-law's name down as well.
And then, you know what? After I had written them down and forgiven them,
Yes.
I felt a heaviness that I've always had with me lift. And you know what? Please forgive whoever's hurt you. Don't go to sleep or don't leave it. Just forgive, even if you weren't wrong. Many times I know I wasn't wrong, but to forgive, you will really, God will set you free. God knows your heart, and I know our hearts are very hard at times. My heart was so hard all my life, but God never, ever left me. And I just wanted you to know, please forgive people. I say to a lot of people, no, I can't even think about forgiving them. And I say, who are you? God forgave us. Who are we not to forgive people? I always think of God dying on the cross for me, and he forgave me. And who are we not? We know better than, God is higher than anybody. And God forgives us all the time, daily, 24/7. If you ask forgiveness, God forgives you. So please, I'm asking you. Wow. Because I know I went through unforgiveness, and it was bad. Some days I felt like just running into the street and finishing my life, but something always held me back.
Your story this morning, Aunty Florence, has challenged me again, I'm sure. I'm speaking on behalf of everyone sitting here. It's an incredible story. And you are able, friends, we sang a song. The last song we sang this morning is Aunty Florence's favorite song. She sings it every day. All my life you have been faithful. And for you to be able to say that all through the years of your life, God has been faithful
Amen.
to you.
Yes.
As an orphan, growing up through the painful times, your sons passing, your husband, all through all of that. Your challenge to us about forgiving is amazing.
It's hard. It's hard to forgive. Some people you just don't want to even look at or forgive. But having God and obeying God's word. Because when we get to heaven, he says, if you don't forgive, how can he forgive us? How can he forgive us? And
Brilliant,
that always
Aunty
sticks in
Florence.
mind.
Wonderful. All through your life, God has been faithful.
Amen.
What about you sitting here today? Can you say that about your life? All through the years, can you say that God has been faithful to you? We can certainly say that through the building project, God has been faithful. He has been faithful.
Amen.
His name is the Lord. Rejoice in his presence. Father to the fatherless. Defender of widows. This is God whose dwelling is holy. God places the lonely in families. Freedom family. Let's build God's church together. A church that isn't actually the building. It's people. It's the Chris that Rudolph meets in hospital. It's the Aunty Florence that comes to the tent for the spitbra and sits with strangers who makes her feel welcome. The church is people. Let's point these people to Jesus, the one who gets the glory.
Amen. just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. I look so forward to coming here to Freedom Church because I just see happy faces around me and everyone greets everyone else, which is so beautiful. And we must just keep loving one another. Love one another. I love my family. They're very small. I've got a daughter and I've got 3 grandchildren.
They stay in
They're
Klerksdorp.
very, very good to me. They all live in Klerksdorp. And sometimes I think I'm like 48, you know. Come to Klerksdorp. But I used to drive. I still drive. But the eldest grandson, I'd say, I'm coming to Klerksdorp. No, Gran, can't drive. They'll say, why? Gran, if you have an accident or if you have a puncture, who's going to help you? I say, I'm not scared. God's with me. Please don't come. So I don't drive to Klerksdorp anymore. They either come and fetch me or go with a shuttle. But they're very good to me.
It is a joy having you part of our family. Can we give Aunty Florence a massive hand? God places the lonely in families. He sets the prisoners free and gives them joy.